Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Quick Tips, where every Friday I give you straight to the point tips for your film and photography projects. And in today's episode, I'm gonna show you how to film better B-roll of yourself if you're filming by yourself. So obviously I film lots of video and I kind of require shots of me doing my thing behind the scenes. And not just like ordinary static shots, I want shots with movement. And what I use is this. A slider! Said that really weird. This is my favorite slider of all time, and it's the Rhino Rove Pro. They're not sponsoring this video, but I have gotten a lot of questions regarding my slider, and so I figured may as well make a video about it. So the Rhino Rove Pro is probably one of the easiest sliders I've ever used. It has built-in feet that you can adjust to any height. It's rugged and tough and can pretty much go on any terrain. Like you can put it on a smooth surface, you can put it over rocks, on a mountain, and a river. Well, maybe not a river. Maybe more like a stream. But this is my go-to slider that I use whenever I need to film B-roll of myself. Setting it up is pretty easy. Like I said before, the Rhino Rove Pro has feet that you can adjust to any height. Look at that. Solid. And then here you have the adjustable ball head, and the camera that I like using is the Sony ZV-1, of course. It does support heavier camera setups like my Sony a7 III and even the 24-70 G Master lens, but I find that if you put the slider on a tripod, if you don't have support on both ends, then the slider will lean left or right because it is a heavier camera setup, which is why I love using the Sony ZV-1 as my, I guess, slider cam. Regardless, whatever camera you have, just take the quick release plate, attach it underneath the camera, take the ball head, attach it on top of the slider, and then take your camera with the plate underneath and just attach it to the ball head. And then of course there's a knob here that you can adjust the angle of your camera. Boom! And then to control the slider, you can use the app. After you turn on your slider and open up the app, your phone should automatically recognize the slider. When the app opens up, there are two options. The first one is when you're using the slider with a camera, and the second one is when you'll be using it with a phone. In this instance, we'll be using it with the camera. And the next page is where you'll see all the settings. This number over here, this is duration, so it takes 21 seconds for the slider to move from point A to point B. If you want the slider to move slower, then just tap the number and slide it up. If you want it to move faster, then slide it down. The number next to it is called the ramp, and so that's going to determine how smooth or how hard your slider begins and ends. I think 50% is totally fine, but if you do want the beginning and end movements to be smoother, then you can totally increase that number. And if you want your slider to loop back and forth, then simply select loop. And once you're happy with those settings, simply tap start so that your slider can start sliding. And of course you can use the slider for time lapses as well. I've used it several times for time lapses and it's been awesome. And to do that, simply tap here and select time lapse. That easy. If you do want a video on how to do that, then let me know in the comments below. But that's it for today's video, folks. That is what I use to film B-roll of myself when I'm filming by myself. Ugh, I'm lonely. It's definitely a lot better than just sticking the camera on a tripod and filming myself. There's just a lot more dynamics if your camera is moving. And with the Rhino Rove Pro, it just makes it a lot easier for me to do that. All right, well, that's it for today's quick tips. Hopefully that was a helpful one to you. And if you are interested in checking out the Rhino Rove Pro slider, then links will be in the description below. But that is it for today, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. And as always, have an amazing Friday. Have a kick butt weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.